Breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
And that breaking news takes us to southern Wake County, where a school bus is involved in a crash with a motorcycle. This is a live look at that scene near Willow Spring. What we know so far.
And you'll notice it's a bit cloudy across much of the region. We will see those clouds beginning to taper off later on this afternoon. I'll show you why we won't see any rain for the next 7 days.
Also, the shutdown is over. The federal government back open this morning after President Trump signed a new spending bill into law. The process getting started now to get things back to normal.
Also, tuition debate. Today, leaders at NC State are considering a price hike for new students, while UNC Chapel Hill board members are shooting down a similar plan on their campus. Thank you so much for being with us here in the 8 o'clock hour on Fox 50. Lots to get to this morning. I'm Ken Smile.
And I'm Michelle McConaughey. Of course, first we have to start with the weather. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner standing by with a little bit more of a milder day on tap, Elizabeth.
Yeah, temperatures are going to be warmer than yesterday, especially this morning. We're running at about 5 to 10 degrees warmer than yesterday. We do have some cloud cover out there this morning, too. Much of our viewing area seeing some gray skies, but high pressure will continue to build down toward us, and that will help to dry things out through the afternoon. When I say dry things out, I mean I really clear things out. We're definitely not going to see any rain today, but it's gray right now here in Apex, temperature in the mid 40s, and our winds are nice and light. It's 50 degrees now in Fayetteville and in Goldsboro. Our cool spot, Roxboro, at 43. But again, temperatures about 5 to 10 degrees warmer right now than it was this time yesterday. Afternoon highs will be comfortable in the mid 60s, which is close to normal. We're looking at a big warm up over the weekend. I'll show you why temperatures will start to climb. Ken?
Elizabeth, at 8:01, we're staying on top of that breaking news we've been following for the last hour and a half or so. That crash involving a school bus and a motorcycle down there in the Willow Spring area. It's at Bud Lipscomb and Kennebec intersection. Let's give you a live look now with the help of photographer Charles Bradley. You can see first responders, state troopers, and the like right there at that scene. They've loaded up the motorcycle. That's a school bus that was involved. We're working to find out about any injuries to the motorcyclist. We're working to find out if any students were on that bus and the condition of those students and what school to which it was affiliated. As soon as we get any new information about it, we'll let you know. But avoid that area altogether and stick with Highway 210 down in that area. Now, back here a little bit closer to Raleigh, I-40 and Lake Wheeler Road, those westbound lanes really continue to get busy at this hour. So here's what you're looking at. If you got to make a decision, particularly if coming in from Garner, Johnston County, where you don't have any delays, but once you get to the Beltline, you have that decision to make, whether you're going to the northern loop of the Beltline or the southern loop. Right now, that southern loop, you're looking at an 8-minute delay on that southern loop of the Beltline. If you're wanting to decide to go to the northern loop of the Beltline, which I would recommend, you're looking at a 5-minute delay, just a little bit of a slowdown around Capitol. But once you get past Capitol, it's clear sailing. You're getting ready to head into the car. Tune us in on the radio, 101.5 HD3.
Thanks, Ken. A live look at Capitol Hill this morning as the federal government reopens after 43 days of being shut down, the longest in history. Last night, President Donald Trump signed a temporary spending bill that ended it. And now the process of getting government services back to normal gets started. Furloughed employees will be able to work. They'll be given back pay for the time they were out of work. And the shutdown has hit food banks hard as the demand has increased due to furloughs and the pausing of food benefits. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey is live at the Interfaith Food Shuttle in Raleigh for us this morning. And Kelsey, the recovery process, it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take some time.
Yes, Michelle, it will. This morning, a lot of folks may be able to breathe a sigh of relief, but there are still so many questions that remain. Now, food here from the Interfaith Food Shuttle Farm was distributed in high volume during the shutdown as people needed support. Now, the big question this morning is, when will SNAP benefits resume? The U.S. Department of Agriculture says funds will be available within 24 hours in most states. We're working to find out the timeline for North Carolina. More than 82,000 people receive these benefits in Wake County. That's according to county data. Food banks have had higher demand since the shutdown. The CEO of Interfaith Food Shuttle, Ron Pringle, says although the shutdown is over, people still may need some extra support. He says it's difficult for food banks to plan ahead when there's so much uncertainty.
1 week, it's fear that the need is going to be increasing drastically. And the next week it's like, okay, things are leveling off, so it's really hard to build some long-term strategies when everything is just really feeling like you're on a roller coaster.
Pringle says that they had an influx of people who were furloughed workers seeking some of their services. So NBC News says that the government does plan to offer back pay. It's just not clear on when these furloughed workers will get it and how quickly the regular payments will resume. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
Well, despite the shutdown ending, the FAA says a 6% reduction in flights will stay in effect until further notice, as we take a live look at RDU International this morning. But the agency says it called off an increase in reduction set for the end of this week. Flights were reduced by 6% last week at 40 airports. That led to delays and cancellations all across the country. The FAA says the current flight reductions in place will stay in place until the FAA believes normal operations can get started again. Now, for people who have insurance through the Affordable Care Act, the reopening could mean their health insurance costs will be more than doubled. The new spending bill does not guarantee an extension of expiring subsidies. A future vote on those subsidies was promised as part of a deal to end the shutdown. Democrats are vowing to keep fighting for lower costs, but the U.S. House Speaker says he wants reforms first.
Lawmakers from our state issued statements after the House voted on the spending bill. Democrat Don Davis voted in favor of the bill. His statement read in part, "To support my constituents, alleviate the suffering of our families as the holidays approach, and bring vital resources to Eastern North Carolina, I voted to reopen the government." And Republican Greg Murphy also voted for the continuing resolution. In a statement, he placed the blame on Democrats. He said, quote, "No one should ever hold the federal government and the American people hostage over partisan demands. Too many individuals and families suffered during this period of selfish behavior."
Well, following some breaking news right now, Durham police investigating a shooting in the McDougal Terrace community. Officers responding just after midnight and found a man with very serious injuries. The WRAL breaking news tracker was out there for a few hours as forensics teams gathered evidence. WRAL is working to find out what led up to this shooting and the new information about the man's condition. As soon as we get that, we'll share it with you.
And the Wake County Fire Marshal's office is set to return to the scene of an overnight fire today. The WRAL breaking news tracker was there for the aftermath around 2 a.m. This was on Riverview Road near Nightdale. Downed power lines created challenges for firefighters. Investigators say there was extensive damage to the home, a carport, and an SUV. The Nightdale Battalion chief says the person who lives there was able to get out safely.
Well, today, NC State Board of Trustees will reconsider raising tuition for new students. WRAL's Ali Katlabar live on campus this morning at NC State. And Ali, this discussion comes one day after the UNC Chapel Hill board members rejected a similar plan.
This plan and proposal that they're talking about isn't going to impact students we're seeing walk on campus this morning. It could impact incoming students, and that's what NC State leaders are going to be talking about today, this plan that could increase tuition by 3%. It's the same plan that we saw UNC Chapel Hill leaders shoot down yesterday. This is video of board members deciding not to give their approval on the plan. Their proposed 3% increase would have amounted to $211 per student per year. Some board members say it's needed for deferred maintenance and rising utility costs. Others say the tuition increase isn't necessary.
I think the principle on in-state tuition needs to be you don't raise it unless you absolutely have to. And I don't see within our budget that we absolutely have to.
UNC Chapel Hill's full board of trustees is expected to vote against the tuition proposal today. At NC State, the board will be discussing the proposal. It would amount to around $196 per incoming student per year. And WRAL will be following the outcomes of both of these meetings today. Reporting live in Raleigh, Ali Katlabar, WRAL News.
New this morning, 2 different fires are under investigation in Durham. The first one happened at an apartment building on Leadenham Street near West Murray Avenue and Broad Street. These photos were sent to us from the Durham Fire Department. We're told the fire department was able to get that fire under control within 10 minutes. There are no injuries, but firefighters say the Red Cross was called to help 6 people who were affected. The fire marshal there is investigating. And then there was a house fire that displaced 2 people and killed 2 dogs in Durham. The WRAL breaking news tracker captured this video from the scene on Gorman Church Road just before 9:30 last night. The fire was so severe it required multiple fire departments show up. The fire marshal is handling the investigation. Authorities say they've reached out to the Red Cross, but it's unclear on where those 2 residents are staying.
Happening today, a new resource is opening for military families, veterans, and active duty students at UNC Chapel Hill. The university is celebrating the grand opening of the Military and Veteran Student Success Center. It's located at the Student and Academic Services Building. The school says the new center will help military families who are adjusting to the area after moving here. A grand opening is scheduled for this afternoon around 4:30.
Also happening today, the Second Harvest Food Bank will be distributing groceries. It'll be first come, first serve. All residents are welcome. It'll run from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at Insoul Fellowship Church. That's on 71st School Road in Fayetteville.
Top now, 8:10. Epstein vote. House Speaker Mike Johnson is facing calls to consider a resolution of the release of DOJ files. The plans ahead as the government reopens.
Plus, Border Patrol in North Carolina. Concerns are growing as agents prepare for an operation in Charlotte. What local leaders are doing ahead of the time.
And some cloud cover rolled in early this morning. You can see gray skies here in Chapel Hill, but temperatures are on their way up even with the clouds. I'll show you when we get hit 70s. 8:14, taking a live look at Sanford. A good bit of cloud cover here, and we've seen some clouds moving in across our area. It's just a quick disturbance that'll roll through mainly this morning, and we should be back to more sunshine later this afternoon. Our temperatures have been mild to start with, 44 in Holly Springs, 46 in Durham, 43 in Roxborough, 48 degrees in Gardner, and 51 in Goldsboro. So heading out the door, you don't need your heaviest coat like we did a couple of mornings ago. It was starting off mainly in the mid-40s, but a good bit more cloud cover out there. Walking the dog this morning, definitely, a pretty heavy jacket would be comfortable. By lunchtime, though, we climb into the mid-60s, and if you're walking the dog right after work, temperatures are dropping into the low 50s. Ken?
Elizabeth, new into the WRAL Traffic Center. We want to let you know that this crash involving a motorcycle and a school bus at the intersection of Bud Lipscomb Road and Kennebec Roads has now cleared. Here's a live look at that intersection right now. You can see traffic is beginning to flow. We're going to continue to work to get more information about this crash in terms of any injuries and whether or not any students were injured on that school bus. And Kennebec Road was actually the scene of a deadly crash back in February. Here's video that we shot back in February in terms of this deadly crash. This car left the road. 3 people died in that crash, according to state troopers. The 3 people who died were not wearing seatbelts, and speed was also a factor. Those 3 people were thrown from that vehicle. We'll try to get some more information about this crash, this current crash, and let you know what kind of delays you'll be looking at in terms of those major routes coming into Raleigh.
All right, thank you, Ken. With the federal government shutdown over, House Speaker Mike Johnson says he plans to put a resolution on the Epstein files. He plans to put it up for a vote next week. This announcement was made after a petition on the measure reached 218 votes. Newly sworn in Democratic Congresswoman Adelita Grijalva was the tie-breaking signature. Her contribution forced a House vote on the release of all of the DOJ files. News of a vote also comes just hours after Democrats on the House Oversight Committee released private emails from Epstein. Those reportedly mention President Donald Trump. If this resolution passes, it will head to the Senate, where it will likely fail. New this morning, civil rights leader Jesse Jackson is in the hospital. The 84-year-old is under observation for his neurodegenerative condition. The organization that he founded says that he's been dealing with symptoms for over a decade. The exact nature of his treatment is not known. Well, local organizations and city leaders in Charlotte are preparing for possible immigration operations in that Queen City. A senior Homeland Security leader confirmed yesterday that Border Patrol would be headed to Charlotte. And while the timeline is unclear, people are preparing for what may come. Patrick Garcia is the executive director of Embrace All Latino Votes in Charlotte, and he says his organization was flooded with calls from families with school-aged children. Garcia says the fears are even spreading to students who are U.S. citizens.
Also, these children, they listen from home, they listen from the news, they listen on social media. So for even an American citizen that is born from parents that are from another country, that creates a very huge burden mentally.
In a joint statement, state and local leaders are reassuring that families and local schools will be safe for students. The statement says the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department does not enforce federal immigration law or ask about immigration status.
A data center developer is hearing from people concerned about a proposal for a new facility in Wake County. WRAL was at last night's community meeting in New Hill, hosted by Natali Holdings. A developer wants to build a nearly 200-acre data center on Sharon Harris Road. The meeting became tense at times as residents raised concerns about water usage, light pollution, traffic. The developer tells WRAL he is still in the rezoning process. The company will now have to go before the Planning Commission and then the Town Council, but that likely won't be until next spring.
Fayetteville police are looking for a robbery suspect. Officers released these photos of that suspect. It happened yesterday at a convenience store on Rayford Road. Police say the man walked into the store wearing a yellow sweatshirt and demanded money and cigarettes. If you know who this is, call Fayetteville police.
State leaders are calling for FEMA reforms. They're also demanding stronger flood protections in North Carolina. That discussion was the focus of the Waters Summit in Wilmington yesterday. North Carolina's top environmental official, Reed Wilson, shared updates on the state's flood resiliency blueprint. This maps where flooding is most likely to occur. Now, it's also meant to help communities prioritize projects that can limit damage before the next storm.
And we do know that these storms are more infrequent. They are more intense. So the question is, how do we prepare, adapt, and protect our communities? I think we all know the answer is to invest in resilience, reducing our risks before disaster strikes, and making sure that when disaster does strike, our communities are able to withstand that better and recover faster.
Right now, North Carolina ranks third in the nation for flood risks.
Well, people in Raleigh should be on the lookout for a piece of mail that could get you $1,000. The Planning and Development Department is looking for 40 members for its City Assembly Group. The assembly will meet for 6 Saturdays in January and February, and their goal is to give feedback on the future of Raleigh's public transit system. If selected, you will be paid $1,000. Childcare, translators, and refreshments will be provided.
I think this is just an opportunity for us to make sure that we're hearing in depth from like a broad section of the city. And that's part of the $1,000 is to make sure providing that feedback isn't financially burdensome for anybody.
If you get the letter and you're interested, make sure to respond so you will be considered. All right, we are in the WRAL Severe Weather Center now with Elizabeth. More pictures of this beautiful spectacle that we've seen in the sky the past 2 nights.
I know, I can't get enough of it. Of course, last night it wasn't quite as bright as it was the night before. The reason for that is the solar storm came more like midday instead of overnight, and so it started to weaken as we got through the afternoon. And then a lot of folks are still able to see it there on the horizon. Gary Royster Henderson sent us this one, and then there's Chelsea Chambers and Rockingham, and just gorgeous. Don't forget to go to WRAL.com/report it and send us your photos. I love this time lapse meteorologist Grant Skinner created for us this morning of the sunrise in Franklinton. And you could definitely see we had some cloud cover, but that thin spot in the clouds, the sun came up looking absolutely gorgeous. The clouds have mostly taken over again, though. This is a live look at downtown Raleigh from our Jimmy V camera. Our temperatures are in the mid-40s, so it's fairly comfortable as you head out the door. Not as cold as it was a couple of mornings ago. And then some cloud cover around the area should dissipate pretty quickly as we get closer to lunchtime. That colder air that was with us to start the week has shifted away from us, and more warmth will be coming in from the south and west. We're going to see a big warm up over the weekend, but heading out the door right now, we're in the mid-40s to low 50s. It's 53 now in Goldsboro, 50 in Fayetteville, still 43 up in Roxborough. 64 is our normal high. We'll be very close to that normal high for Thursday and Friday, and then we jump well above it Saturday and Sunday with mid-70s on Saturday and 77 on Sunday. If you're headed to the Virginia game at Duke at 3:30 Saturday, should be nice and comfortable. Game time temperatures in the mid-70s and then gradually dropping through the 60s. We don't have any rain in the forecast for the next 7 days, and we're looking at abnormally dry conditions everywhere and just a small patch of severe drought coming up in just a little while. We'll get the new drought monitor. Hopefully it doesn't start to turn worse, but again, it's definitely a dry forecast for us. A little bit cooler early next week after a dry front on Sunday night. Ken?
All right, Elizabeth, happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center. That that situation, that crash we've been following for the last hour and a half or a couple of hours, involving a motorcycle and school bus at the intersection of Bud Lipscomb Road and Kennebec Road, has now cleared. Here's what the scene looked like about 45 minutes ago. Sky 5 was over that scene. We now know that there were no students on that school bus, and the motorcycle rider was transported to a local hospital with very serious injuries. We're going to work to get a little bit more information about that coming up. Back here in the WRAL Traffic Center, that southern loop of the Beltline continued to be really jammed up this morning. Here's the situation, what you're looking at. You're looking at just a 5-minute delay, but if you're coming in from Garner, Johnston County, no delays between Highway 36 and the Beltline.
Thanks, Ken. Coming up, shopping deals. The holidays are just around the corner, and that means getting your decorations ready. 5 on Your Side has a look at some of the weekend's best bargains. Plus, made in North Carolina, a new Toyota battery plant up and running in our state, how it's giving back to the local community.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM. In Durham, 96.5 FM. And everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
Good morning. Happy Thursday. Time now is 8:26. I'm Michelle McConaughey. In for a bit of a warmer day today. Meteorologist Elizabeth Garner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center with what it feels like now.
Temperatures are in the mid-40s in Durham and Raleigh and 50 in Fayetteville. These temperatures are about 5 to 10 degrees warmer than what we saw yesterday, but we definitely have more cloud cover here in Durham, starting to see some of those clouds thin out just a little bit. Hopefully it'll be more comfortable for exercise this morning. This afternoon, temperatures will be very close to yesterday in the mid-60s, and then we drop into the 50s pretty quickly this evening, Ken.
Right, happening now, Elizabeth, we're going to stay on that southern loop of the Beltline, I-40 and Lake Wheeler Road. These are the westbound lanes moving away from us this morning. This is the usual congestion that we see this time of the morning. So you're looking at a 5-minute delay on that southern loop of the Beltline. I just jumped to 4 minutes, so things are getting better. No delays whatsoever if you're coming in from Garner, Johnston County between Highway 36 and the Beltline. In terms of the big picture, we're seeing a little bit of a slowdown around Cary Harrison, those eastbound lanes coming in on I-40. You're looking at a 6-minute delay. The other troubled spot is our friends in Wake Forest. You're looking at an 11-minute delay coming in on US 1 Capitol Boulevard, if you will.
All right, thank you, Ken. Durham police investigating a shooting in the McDougal Terrace community. Officers responded just after midnight and found a man with life-threatening injuries. WRAL is working to learn more about his condition. And today, NC State is considering a tuition hike for new students. University leaders will look at raising the tuition for all incoming students by 3%. That's about $196 per year. Current undergrads would not see their tuition go up. Next on Fox 50, people in our area beginning the recovery process after the government shutdown. And coming up on today, the All-Star Chef Thanksgiving special you do not want to miss.
Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
Yeah, this is some breaking news that we've been following about an hour ago. This is what that scene looked like. That scene has now cleared. It involved a school bus and a motorcycle rider near Willow Spring. We'll have the new information just into our newsroom.
And the government shutdown is over. The federal government back open after President Trump signed a new spending bill into law. What it means for us here at home.
And our weather maker this morning is the cloud cover. I'll show you why it's not going to keep us from warming up this afternoon or this weekend.
Possible tuition hikes. Several universities in the Triangle set to discuss raising tuition prices today. Just how much more you and your family could be paying for that student to go to their favorite college or university here in North Carolina. So glad you're with us here at 8:30. I'm Ken Snyder.
And I'm Michelle McConaughey. Yeah, nice start to our day. Definitely a little warmer than it has been. Meteorologist Elizabeth Garner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center with news of our next weather maker.
So cloud cover out there this morning. We had a weak disturbance kind of roll through early this morning. You can see some clouds there. You see the back edge of the clouds is sliding eastward, so we'll likely see the clouds thinning out and breaking up here pretty quickly, probably within the next 2 to 3 hours, depending on where you are. Still pretty gray right here in Apex this morning, but our temperatures have been warmer than yesterday. 46 degrees in the Triangle, and our winds are nice and light. It's 50 down in Fayetteville, 53 in Goldsboro, but still 43 in Roxborough. And again, temperatures running a couple degrees to 5 to 10 warmer than this time yesterday. The afternoon will feel similar to yesterday with temperatures in the mid-60s, and will be slow to cool down. We're just going to see a general warming trend as we get into the weekend. I'll show you why we could climb back into the 70s. Coming up, Ken.
Well, Elizabeth, updating that story we've been following now for the last hour and a half. That crash down around the Willow Spring area involving a motorcycle and a school bus at the intersection of Bud Lipscomb and Kennebec Roads has now cleared. But this is what that scene looked like about 45 minutes ago. Sky 5 was over that scene. That school bus, we're told right now there were no students on that school bus and that the motorcycle rider has been transported to the hospital with serious injuries. We're still asking some questions in terms of how this crash happened. As soon as we get any new information, of course, we'll update you here in the WRAL Traffic Center and, of course, on our news online at WRAL.com. Back here now, closer to Raleigh, this is a live look at I-40 and Lake Wheeler Road. Those are the westbound lanes moving away from us this morning. Really bumper-to-bumper traffic. The usual congestion we see this time of the morning. You're looking at a 5-minute delay. But, you know, if you're coming in from Garner, Johnston County, before you get to this southern loop of the Beltline, you have no delays to report in terms of getting close to the Beltline. The other troubled spot is Finns and Wake Forest. You're looking at a 9-minute delay if you're coming in on US 1 and Capitol Boulevard. You're getting ready to head into the cartoonist and on the radio, 101.5 HD3.
This morning, federal agencies are asking their employees to come back to work. The longest government shutdown in U.S. history is over. President Donald Trump signed the stopgap funding bill late last night. More services are becoming available again with the return of furloughed federal employees. But it's not all good news. For people with insurance through the Affordable Care Act, the reopening could mean their health insurance costs will more than double. The bill does not guarantee an extension of expiring subsidies. It's also unclear when flight schedules will return to normal. A 6% reduction in flights remains in place.
Well, Michelle, one thing we heard from Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy was that even when the government reopens, which obviously is underway right now, that doesn't mean that things are going to go back to normal for flights. In fact, your Thanksgiving travel could be impacted, possibly even Christmas. Looking at delays and cancellations right now, FlightAware kind of scopes it out across the world as a whole, but looks like 9,530. But specifically within, into, or out of the U.S., we're talking about 922 different cancellations here. Let me show you the misery map to see how things are this morning. Significant improvement over yesterday, only 94 delays and 161 cancellations. Those numbers were a little bit higher yesterday this time, but again, a little bit improvement. Mostly in the Northeast, we can see there's a little bit of some delays and cancellation actions happening here. But one thing you have to make sure that you keep in mind, if you have any flights coming up soon, turn those notifications on the app to your corresponding airline. That way you'll know if you're dealing with a delay or a cancellation too.
And Chris, that shutdown hit food banks hard. And even now that it's over, questions remain about when people will actually get their food benefits. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey live at the Interfaith Food Shuttle Farm there in Raleigh. And Kelsey, the recovery process is going to take some time.
Yes, Ken, it will. This morning, a lot of folks may be able to just breathe a sigh of relief, even though there are still so many unanswered questions. Food was distributed in high volumes here from the Interfaith Food Shuttle Farm as folks needed support throughout the shutdown. Now the big question is, when will SNAP benefits resume? The U.S. Department of Agriculture says funds will be available within 24 hours in most states. We're working to find out the timeline for North Carolina. More than 82,000 people receive these benefits in Wake County, according to county data. Food banks have had higher demand since the shutdown. The CEO of Interfaith Food Shuttle, Ron Pringle, says although the shutdown is over, people may still need extra support.
The sun may come back out, the rain may stop, but this is still a recovery process. There's still individuals who were furloughed who may not get back pay.
NBC News reports that the government is planning to offer back pay. It's just not clear on when these furloughed workers will receive that and how quickly the regular payments will resume. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
Well, a group of 6 House Democrats broke ranks and voted for that bill. That includes North Carolina Democrat Don Davis. Davis says he supported the measure because so many Americans were hurting during that shutdown.
I mean, did I want more? Absolutely, I wanted to see more. I would love for us to prepare for the holidays and know that people, their minds are at ease. Hear this. I had a constituent talking to me, literally in tears. That's not what I want.
Republican Congressman Greg Murphy also put out a statement reading in part, "This was all done to protect Senator Chuck Schumer's political career and push egregious demands of the progressive left. They failed. I look forward to getting back to the people's business."
Breaking news this morning, Durham police investigating a shooting in the McDougal Terrace community. Officers responded just after midnight and found a man with life-threatening injuries. The WRAL breaking news tracker was out there for hours as a forensics team gathered evidence. WRAL is working to find out what led up to the shooting and the latest on the man's condition. And happening today, the NC State Board of Trustees will consider raising tuition for new students. As WRAL's Ali Calabar explains, this discussion comes one day after UNC Chapel Hill board members rejected a similar plan.
And it's not going to impact students that we're seeing walk around campus today, but it could impact future students. And that's what NC State leaders will be discussing today, a plan that could increase tuition by 3%. It's the same proposal we saw UNC Chapel Hill leaders discuss and shoot down yesterday. This is video of board members deciding not to give their approval on the plan. Their proposed 3% increase would have amounted to $211 per student per year. Some board members say it's needed for deferred maintenance and rising utility costs. Others say the tuition increase isn't necessary.
I think the principle on in-state tuition needs to be you don't raise it unless you absolutely have to. And I don't see within our budget that we absolutely have to.
UNC Chapel Hill's full board of trustees is expected to vote against the tuition proposal today. At NC State, the board will be discussing the proposal. It would amount to around $196 per incoming student per year. And WRAL will be covering the outcomes of both of these meetings today. Reporting in Raleigh, Ali Calabar, WRAL News.
Well, new this morning, we're learning a Duke Health nurse who was killed in September was strangled to death. Ariel Lowe's boyfriend, Christopher Whitley, is charged in her death. According to the autopsy report, he told investigators he hit Lowe, smashed glass on her head, and strangled her. He then FaceTimed an ex-girlfriend to show her what he had done. Durham police found Lowe's body after arresting Whitley, who was barricaded in his apartment.
A Fort Bragg man facing charges this morning after he was accused of peeping in a fitting room at a Fayetteville mall. Police say they got a call about someone spying on a person under 18 at the Cross Creek Mall. Through an investigation, officers identified and arrested Gabriel Seville. He is now charged with felony secret peeping.
This morning, all lanes of Lewisburg Road in Raleigh are back open. A crash knocked down power lines, causing a major backup last night. The southbound lanes reopened just after 3 this morning. The northbound lanes reopened late last night. Raleigh police say a dump truck, when lifting its trailer, knocked down the power lines and pole. Duke Energy since restored power to everyone affected.
The conversation around Durham Police Department's new real-time crime center picks back up tonight. The department held a town hall last night about it. More discussions will happen tonight and tomorrow. The center will bring together all the data they have on file. It would let officers access things such as 911 calls and crime reports all in one platform. The department says a tool like this could help identify suspects and respond to crimes faster. Tonight's town hall is at the Walltown Park Recreation Center on West Club Boulevard. It's from 6 to 8.
Also new this morning, the Powerball jackpot is even bigger. It's now $546 million after no one hit all numbers in the grand prize drawing last night. Take a look at your screen. These are the winning numbers from last night: 29, 39, 43, 51, 65. The Powerball 23. Now, the next drawing is Saturday right before the 11 o'clock news on WRAL. And before that, don't forget about the $965 million Mega Millions drawing. That's tomorrow night before our 11 o'clock news on WRAL as well.
Made in North Carolina. We'll show you what's inside Toyota's new battery plant and the surprise gift it's giving local schools.
Also, from holiday decorations to items on everyone's wish list, 5 on your side, looking at some of this weekend's best shopping deals.
And we're going to take you live out to Pittsburgh this morning. A cool and breezy start. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner tells us about today's cool and breezy start ahead of a warmer weekend.
And And right now it is 8:44, taking a look over Chapel Hill, where we're beginning to see the skies clear a little bit. We are seeing some clearing from the west. And so our western towns and counties, of course, will see that sunshine a little bit before the rest of the viewing area. Temperatures are on the mild side, 46 in Durham, 45 in Cary, 49 in Gardner, 51 in Goldsboro. Not too far from normal for this time of year, but of course a good bit warmer than what we've seen the last couple of mornings. So heading out the door, at least a jacket, maybe a light coat. We have seen more clouds this morning, but again, starting to see some of those clouds shifting out of here. Expect temperatures in the mid 60s for highs this afternoon. And then this evening, if you're walking the dog, we drop down into the low 50s. We're dry for the next several days, and a big warm up is still in store for the weekend. I'll show you why, Ken.
All right, happening now in the W Traffic Center. We start the northern loop of the belt now and give you a live look at I-440 and New Bern Avenue. These are the westbound lanes moving away from us, moving at a steady, albeit slow clip this morning. So as we widen out the view and give you a look at the entire loop, starting from I-87 and 440, the slowdown is between that and Capitol Boulevard, Six Forks Road. But once you get past Glenwood Avenue, it's clear sailing all the way to Wade Avenue this morning. I'll have a look at some of the other major routes coming into the Raleigh-Ray County area in less than 10 minutes.
Thank you, Ken. From holiday decorations to items on everyone's wish list, 5 on your sides. Keely Arthur has a look at some of this weekend's best shopping deals.
Between Veterans Day sales and early Black Friday deals, the big retailers are stepping up. Here's a look at some of the best buys you might want to take advantage of this weekend. If you're looking for a new artificial Christmas tree, Michael's is having its annual Great Big Tree Spree with Christmas trees up to 70% off. Decorations, including trees and lights, are also on sale at Target. You can get lights for as little as $2. Decorations are up to 40% off, and trees are up to 60% off. Walmart's first Black Friday deals run Friday through this Sunday. A little early, Walmart Plus members get early access starting Thursday night. Walmart says some of the best deals are up to 70% off on floor care, 65% off on TVs, up to 50% off of toys and Legos, as well as deals on some Apple products. Lowe's and Home Depot also have early Black Friday deals where select appliances are between 40 and 50% off. For the latest shopping deals, just search Smart Shopper on WRAL.com. Keely Arthur, 5 on your side.
Well, a new Toyota battery plant is now open in North Carolina. The factory will produce batteries for hybrid electric, fully electric, and plug-in hybrid vehicles. Governor Josh Stein, U.S. Senator Ted Budd, and Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy were all in attendance at that grand opening.
We're going to have a very reasonable fuel efficiency standard. And when we do that, what's going to happen is you're going to be able to make more cars because your cars are going to be more cost effective for the American consumer.
Toyota also announced the company would donate $2.7 million to area schools as part of the community investment in STEM education.
Today, unionized Starbucks workers plan to go on strike. Their walkout is their third major strike since the union launched 4 years ago. They are protesting what they call unlawful union busting by Starbucks. The union represents workers at more than 600 locations all across the U.S. Starbucks says it does not expect the strike to disrupt operations at the vast majority of its locations. Today's strike also coincides with Starbucks' annual Red Cup Day. It's all about the movies today.
Yeah, time for a look at what's trending. So let's start with superstar Adele heading to the silver screen. The Grammy Award-winning artist will make her acting debut in the upcoming movie Cry to Heaven. It's an adaptation of an Anne Rice novel. It is scheduled to be released next fall.
I think she's going to do a really good job. It's also going to be directed by Tom Ford. Will also star Nicholas Hoult and Aaron Taylor Johnson as well in that film. But listen, I think she's going to kill it.
And we hope we hear her singing that.
Yes, absolutely.
Excellent.
Yes. All right, well, Pope Leo sharing his all-time favorite movies ahead of a meeting with film industry leaders this weekend. His top 4 include It's a Wonderful Life and The Sound of Music. He also named Ordinary People, directed by Robert Redford, and the Italian film Life is Beautiful. I love that. And some of the names he's meeting with this weekend include Spike Lee, Cate Blanchett, and Gaspar Noé as well. Very cool. Well, the Holiday Express at Pullen Park completely sold out, but 5 lucky families can still hop aboard. Win a family 4-pack to the sold-out Holiday Express with lights, train rides, and holiday cheer. You can enter right now at WRAL.com/contest. Watch WRAL Morning News at 6 a.m. every day next week to see if you are one of our winners. Good luck. And the Northern Lights, they put on a show in the sky again last night. Look at this. These pictures from West Virginia, Pennsylvania, and other states to our north show the dazzling display. It's just so beautiful. Here in North Carolina, the lights were visible again through people's phones, but not to the naked eye. These photos look fake, Ken.
And what a treat. And we're so grateful to so many viewers who send us these amazing pictures of the Northern Lights, because that's unheard of around here on a regular basis.
It really is, especially 2 nights in a row. It's been interesting because over the last couple of years, we've had a few of these large enough solar storms to produce these Northern Lights in our area, which, I grew up in Raleigh, and this never happened until, really just a few years ago. Dennis Oglesby in Sanford sent us this gorgeous photo. Don't forget, you can send us your photos. Go to WRAL.com/report it. And you can send us anything. It doesn't have to be Northern Lights. It can be, pretty leaves in your backyard, a sunrise, sunset. Andrea Sears sent us this one from Falls Lake, looking so beautiful with the stars up top and, of course, the lights there on the horizon. It wasn't quite as bright overnight last night as it was the night before because the actual solar storm started around lunchtime yesterday, and so it was already starting to weaken by the time we got to the evening. But we appreciate all those photos. We had some cloud cover that appeared about 2 or 3 o'clock this morning. It is now starting to move right on out of here, so expect some clearing where you are, probably in the next hour to 2 hours, depending on where you are. As a matter of fact, a little bit of blue sky trying to show up there above North Hills here in Raleigh. Our temperature, 46 degrees, so it's definitely chilly enough for maybe a light coat, a jacket. You don't need your big, giant puffy like we did earlier in the week when our temperatures were down into the freezing realm. 50 in Fayetteville and Clinton, 53 Goldsboro, 49 in South Hill, 45 in Apex, 47 in Holly Springs, and 49 in Knightdale. 24-hour temperature change. In most places, it's 5 to 10 degrees warmer than it was this time yesterday. But the afternoon temperatures will be similar to what we saw yesterday, 65 in Raleigh and Durham and 69 in Fayetteville. Average temperatures for the next couple of days, and then a big bump up again, 75 Saturday, 77 on Sunday. Those are almost the identical temperatures that we saw last weekend. And I tell you, I just loved it. It was so nice. It was kind of a rude awakening to have such cold temperatures on Monday. Now, this Monday, we will cool down, but just to near normal at 65. So hopefully you'll get a chance to get outside and enjoy that beautiful weekend. As warm as it will be, it's not likely to be a record. Our high Saturday, 75, but the record's 86. And then Sunday, 77. With the record 82, a little bit closer on Sunday. Football Friday looking great. Temperatures at game time should be in the mid 60s, maybe low 60s in some spots, and then in the 50s during the games. And again, sunny and dry, warm and wonderful Saturday and Sunday. Hopefully you can get out and enjoy it. It is likely to continue at least into parts of next week with a chance of some mild temperatures. Looking ahead, possibly to Thanksgiving weekend, temperatures might start to cool back down again, just a bit.
Elizabeth, before we go to break, here are your winning NC Education lottery numbers. We'll get another check on weather and traffic next.